Hi, my name is Hailee Bartling, and today I'm going to talk to you about the business continuity plan that I formed for a local coffee shop called the Barista Cats. So first, I'll just give you a little bit of information about the Barista Cats. It is a locally owned coffee shop located here in Fairbanks, and they are located off Pegger Road across from the DMV. They recently went under new ownership, and these new owners, it's their first business venture, and they didn't really understand the importance of a business continuity plan. And although it is a very small business, business continuity plans can help all sorts of businesses, and they're very important. So first, I was an employee at this coffee shop. That's why I decided to do it in the past with the previous owners. And so I kind of know Chris and Janelle, but not very well. And when we got assigned this project, I immediately thought of them. And at first I was a little wary because I thought I wouldn't have enough information, but it turned out to be perfect, and it just showed like any size business, a business continuity plan is essential. So first off, a BCP is created to ensure, created to ensure the safety of the employees in case of emergency, as well as being able to continue operations, and it protects all the critical operations that are needed to continue with business. So my objective, like I just said, was to ensure the safety and security of the employees, minimize the disruption of the customers, minimize losses, maintain operations for essential services, and then if it's that big of a disaster, to help the community. Some assumptions when I created this business continuity plan was only the facility will be affected. There are buildings and businesses around the Barista Cat building. It's located in the Jiffy Lube parking lot, so if something like a fire happened to the Barista Cats, it wouldn't affect the Jiffy Lube employees at all. All crises or emergencies were fire, man-made, or a flood. Another assumption, relocation of the space is possible because the owner has another property, and a new building will roughly be finished August 2017. All employees are trained and ready, and this just has to do with extreme cases such as fire, flood, or other man-made problems. So first, if we talk about the chain of command, Chris Johnson would serve as the executive authority in the chain of command, and he would know what to do and what needs to be done. But say if he is not available and he can't do it, his wife would be the next in line, and then the manager would be the next, who is Ashley Nicolai, and then the assistant manager, Hannah Kaiser. So in this business continuity plan, it explains that the chain of command is Chris, and then the other employees based on like how long they have been at the business, and so they know what to do. Secondly, communication. In my business continuity plan, because this business is so small, there's only 5 employees and then the 2 owners, communication is key, and word of mouth and like texting and like social media communication can get relayed on like pretty fast, but it is important for the business and the employees to know the most effective way to do it. So in my plan, it said that in the shop there will be a main emergency contact list, as well as every employee will have everybody's phone numbers and know who to contact. There will also be an emergency contact list in there with the Fairbanks Police Department, who luckily enough are right across the street, and the Fairbanks Fire Department. There will also be neighboring facilities. Their phone numbers will be on this contact list, and then we will be able to communicate with the customers through the social media. Social media is something that the Barista Cats use a lot to reach out to their customers and connect with their customers. So just posting on Facebook and Instagram, their two most used social medias, that is the way that they will communicate and let the customers know what's going on. And then if a relocation needed to happen, luckily Chris already has started to construct a new building and a new place for them to do business, so that will be finished, he said, roughly around August 2017. So that would be the new building that they could use if need be. And then a new location. If something happened to the location, there is actually Chris owns a lot of property that could be used to put the new building on. So if you look at the left over here, the Pegger Road location is their current location, and literally just like 2 minutes away is the new property. If need be, he could put the location on that. So then if you look at the critical functions, for this project, I just used the two critical functions for this business. The first one would be payment processes. That is conducting the payrolls for employees and making sure that all of their vendor accounts are up to date and paid off, or say there is a crisis, you can call the vendor list and either tell them to stop sending or send less, or just that is a critical function for the business to stay in business. And then secondly is communication. All employees need to stay informed and the customers need to stay informed, and they would just do this by texting, social media. It's a very small, tight-knit group, so just making sure everybody is up to date is essential for the business to stay in operation. Critical equipment and supplies, if there happened to be a crisis for this business, would be the iPad that they use. They use a point-of-sale system called Squarespace, so it's run totally off an iPad, and that is located in the coffee shop. And then Chris would have to get a new one if, say, that one got destroyed, like in the crisis or emergency. Then Kaladi Coffee, they use Kaladi Coffee out of Anchorage, and obviously that is essential for the business, like it's vital for operations. So it's kept in a personal office space, and then it is also kept inside the shop. So he would either have to, or he orders coffee once a week, so he would either have to order new coffee from Kaladi or get it from the personal shop, contact the vendor, basically. And then food supplies. They do have like breakfast food that they get through Quality Sales and Services here in Fairbanks, and some of it is kept in the coffee shop and some of it is kept in his personal space. So he would also just have to contact the vendor and let them know what needs to be done. And then vital records that the coffee shop has. All the account information is currently just on hard copy and paper, so they would need to have hard copies of that in their personal space, and then also in the coffee shop. And then the employee information, currently that's all hard copy as well, and so they would need to replace that, and it's not located in the coffee shop, so luckily they're all right if something were to happen. And then Squarespace also, they just would need to, that is what they use to track sales, and it's on the iPad, so that was also just a vital record that needs to be kept in a safer place. So recovering time and recovering point objective. Recovering time is defined as how quickly the process must be restored following the disaster, and recovery point objective is how much data is lost in terms how much data is lost before it can no longer be tolerable. Like, how, if we lost the POS system, how long could they go without the POS system? So the 3 objectives that I thought that the coffee shop needed was the POS system, the point of sales, which is the iPad, that tracks all the transactions. And they just got this POS system, and before they were just using a register. So if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, they wouldn't need to replace it right away. But I said but it does track all their inventory. So I said they could use it, or the recovery time objective was 24 hours, and then the recovery point objective was also 24 hours. And lucky for them, this is just an app on a phone, or an app, so you could put it on a phone and it could just be replaced right away. And then the espresso machine, obviously, that is essential for the business. The recovery time objective would be like 12 hours, and then the recovery time objective and the recovery point objective would also be 12 hours. You can still make like brew coffee and some espresso coffee, and luckily there's an old backup machine, but it wouldn't last long, so they would need to purchase a new machine as soon as possible. And then lastly, it would be the employees use a When I Work application to track their hours, and that would also just be like the POS system. So they could do it for 24 hours and then 24-hour recovery objective, or recovery point objective. But if for like logistic reasons and to really get correct information, they need the app to stay in business or to stay in operations. And then testing and revision in this app, or in this part of my business continuity plan, all the staff is going to stay communicated and up to date on the scope and the objective and what their role is in this plan. A copy of it will be given to all the employees, as well as will be kept in the business facility. Then they will test scenarios and discuss the weaknesses, and Chris will go over it all. And then, because it's high turnover, it's a coffee shop, all new employees will need to be trained and tested and made sure that they know what to do in case of an emergency, or who to call, where they are in the chain of command, and it will need to be tested on an annual basis minimum. And then lastly, in conclusion, while doing this project, I got to work with the owners and talk to them about what they needed, and I felt like at the end of it, they really actually thought that they needed a business continuity plan, and it was important to know what to do if there is an emergency. It is under new management, so it's important or new ownership, so it's important that they stay prepared and it's updated. And although it is a small business, something so important or something so essential can really help any size business. And a crisis or an emergency can happen to any business, so it is always much better to be prepared than unprepared.